Jackie. Today, I would like to talk to you about something that's been foremost on my mind the past couple of weeks, and I feel like it's something that is of interest and concern to those of us who have had bariatric surgery: the return of hunger. The past couple of weeks, I have been really struggling with hunger, not head hunger. You know, broad definition of physical hunger is hunger that builds over time, hunger that you um, have physical reaction to. Your stomach growls. It's appropriate. The thought of eating anything would fill you up. It's not a craving for a candy bar. It's not a craving for one specific thing. That a chicken breast or an apple would fill you up, and that would be okay. Then there is head hunger, which is specific, happens at sometimes inappropriate times. A lot of times is a reaction to something that's going on, some type of stressor, whether it's anxiety, frustration, anger, loneliness, and it's very specific. You want something sweet, you want something salty, and that is what will satisfy you. Often it happens when you have just eaten, when you shouldn't be hungry. The past couple of weeks, I have been having physical hunger, even though I have just eaten an hour ago, and it's hunger that my stomach growls, and that eating a chicken breast sounds fine. Eating a bag of apples sounds fine. It's not specific to one thing. Well, this weekend, or a couple of days ago, I logged on to, I am a big believer in having a support team and having resources. One resource which I highly recommend, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but is Berry Nation. It's a membership community, cost about $1 a day. They have so much support. They have support groups pretty much every day. They have boards that you can post on and get support. They have a library of past classes. They've got experts, nutritionists, uh, psychologists, all sorts, bariatric surgeons that teach classes. But anyway, I logged into Berry Nation, and there was a post on there from a member who was talking about her struggles with hunger. And she mentioned a concept that has really got me thinking of obesity hunger. It was kind of one of those drop the mic moments. And in short, hunger is caused by obviously biological hunger, but then there's a couple of hormones that play with hunger. Ghrelin, which is the hormone that makes us hungry, and leptin, which is the hormone that shortly turns off hunger, that makes us feel satisfied. In most people, for several months after bariatric surgery, those hormones are interrupted, and you don't feel that hunger anymore. Typically, in most people, that comes back at about 1 to 2 years. Well, for me, it has come back with a vengeance. And so I was going to Berry Nation to get feedback to see if anybody else was experiencing the same thing, and this post appeared. And it, like I said, it really got me thinking. Obesity hunger, that concept. I didn't come up with that term, that very smart member did, but I was thinking about hunger in those of us who have the disease of obesity. I know for myself, I was hungry all the time when I was obese. That's one of the ways that I became obese. I could eat a full meal at a Mexican restaurant with chips and salsa and a sopapilla for dessert and all the things. And then in an hour or two, I could eat something else and not be miserable. So it was like that disease process triggered those very real feelings to me. And once we lose weight, once we have bariatric weight loss surgery and become metabolically well, we still have that disease of obesity. And I feel like that it in most of us fights back. It tries to come out of remission, tries to pull us back in. I know that sounds like an odd concept, but I feel like that even though our bodies maybe are not showing off our disease anymore, that we still do have that disease and it fights. And that's why I think it is so important for us in that honeymoon period, for most of us is 1 to 2 years, when the metabolic effects of our surgery is the most active. We really need to work hard to establish new eating habits. Because when that obesity hunger comes back, if you don't have that groundwork laid, that's where we get into trouble and we go into remission and we have regain. The there are medications that can help with that. The new GLP-1 class that is very popular right now does help. Another term for this is food noise that I think kind of goes along with that GLP-1 culture. It is very true. I think those of us who do have the disease of obesity do have a lot of background noise about food. What can I eat? When can I eat? But I'm not saying I won't ever. I have not incorporated a GLP 1. I prescribe GLP 1s. I see good benefits to GLP 1s, but at this point in my journey, I don't think I need one. I do see a lot of shortages with GLP 1s in the pharmacy setting, and it's very hard to obtain them. So I'm concerned about if I did start one and see good results, what happens when I can't get it? So I'm trying to battle through this without medication. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I think that's a choice we all need to make for ourselves. Another one thing, I was kind of in a almost near panic when this hunger came back, and then seeing this post about obesity hunger, which made so much sense to me. Another resource that I love is a membership service called Berry Aftercare, Dr. Connie Stapleton. Those of you who follow my channel may know I was a guest on her podcast. And I think it was this week or last week, she had a podcast. And I want to make sure I get this right. It's called The Disease of Obesity and Your Food Choices. The podcast is free, by the way. You don't have to subscribe to her membership service, although I do highly recommend it. But she talked about this, really was reassuring to me. In that podcast, she talked about yes, we do have a disease, but we still have factors that we can control. We have choices that we can control. Those of us who have chosen to get bariatric surgery, that is the most powerful choice that we can make. But we still have to make choices with every bite of food that we put in our mouth, every time we choose to drink something. And she talked about gaining or regaining that control and acknowledging that control, and what part of our disease is our choices and within our control. And that really gave me reassurance and made me kind of recenter in yes, my hunger is coming back, but I still can control this. I still have choices. Hunger is a feeling, and it's not one that is I have to satisfy with things that are not good for me. I have control over that, and that made me feel really good to remember that. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to come on and talk about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on hunger, how hunger affects you, what role you feel like hunger led you to become obese, and what you were doing if you were fairly new in your journey to build those habits that will help you to sustain your health after that hunger returns. I would love to hear any input, any questions, any suggestions for future videos. I want to put out content that people find helpful. On a personal note, I think my swelling has all gone down after my plastic surgery that I had 5 weeks ago last Monday. The day of surgery, I weighed 150.6. As you know, anybody who's watched my videos, 10 days after surgery, I weighed 170.6, and that includes not taking into account a 4.5 pound skin takeoff that the surgeon did. So actually, I was up about 25 pounds. This morning, I weighed 146.6. So I'm where, I was basically before surgery when you take into account that skin removal. So I am so happy about that. I hope everybody has a great week, and I look forward to hearing from everybody. And we will see you next Wednesday. Bye.